It's time to become the best version of yourself and help others do the same. It's Monday morning, and we're talking success.
Good Monday morning, everyone. I'm Greg Halliday here at the Soul offices, and I'm excited to be here with you. I'm going to look right away at the chat board, and I just love to sit down and see so many people already connecting in the Soul family. You know, that's where it's at for us, is the Soul community. That is what drives us. That's what brings a smile to my face on a Monday morning. I'm looking at some of your greetings here. We got greetings from rainy Lafayette. Rainy Lafayette, Dolores. Well, yeah, but it's still nice and sunny. And then from sunny Kansas, Valerie. Okay. And Ana Chavaria says it's going to be a great afternoon today. She says it in Spanish. I'm liking that. And Anita's like, send us some rain up north, Dolores. Yeah, okay. And it's hot in Las Vegas, huh, Lillian? Well, it's always hot in Las Vegas, unless you go in the winter. Good morning, Jenny. Good morning, Osvaldo. Good morning, Deb. I have a question for everybody. What is better than starting a morning with a hot cinnamate? That's my question. So if you're somewhere where you can answer, like you're not driving and listening to this, everybody that's driving, just drive. If you're not driving, write in what is better than a morning with hot cinnamate. Because I love it. So because I'm just curious. I'm curious what your answers are. What's better than that? Is there anything better than it? Chris says nothing beats cinnamate. Oh, Lisa, a double cinnamate. All right, Lisa, we're breaking. We got to read a few more. And then I'll come back to that thought. Everyone says nothing. Lydia says nothing better than starting with cinnamate, although my husband would say a cold cinnamate. Yeah, and you know what? Tell Neil, cold cinnamate is just as good. We don't think we're better because we drink it hot. I always drink it hot. I'm just on that right now. Okay, Osvaldo says cinnamate with coconut milk. Not going to argue with that, Osvaldo. Not going to argue with that. Okay, Claudia Martin says a refreshing Soul Vital. Okay, so yeah, and I'm not going to, because I had that before my hot cinnamate, but still, nothing better than cinnamate. Okay, I always start my day that way. A lot of people commenting in on that. We're going to break with tradition here because I got this cool stainless steel Soul drink holder with the straw, the reusable straw and all that. I don't know if you can kind of hear that, you know. This thing lasts and it's insulated. And you know something, Lisa? I don't know when the last time you won, Lisa Manchester, but your double cinnamate comment, it just got you this right here. So Lisa's our winner. Yeah, we're just playing around today. Let's see if I can get this to show right. Lisa gets it, okay? So Lisa, you get the cinnamate insulated travel cup. I don't even know what to call these. I'm always struggling with what you call them because there's a million different kinds and we kind of love them all here. All right, everybody. Let's start today. Let's do some recognition. And we're going to talk about one of our success keys. It's a great way to start our work week Monday morning. And we're going to do the ranked up key because these are such important milestones. And what I love about the ranked up success key is it applies to every level of achievement at Soul, starting with those first all important ranks. It starts with, somebody first deciding to be a specialist. I want to help somebody else have all these resources in their lives, these nutritional resources, the community, the support, the education, the trips, the training, all of that. It can make such a big difference. So that's where it all starts. But then it sort of continues with our various ranks, Soul Pro and 1K, 2K, etc. So we're going to start with that today. Let's start with some recent Soul Pro milestone achievements here. Let's look and see what we've got here. We've got Estela Barragan. Congratulations, Estela, for hitting 1K. Teresa Perez, 1K as well. Maria Gallego, Mayra Gallego Acosta. Also, congratulations, Lorena Carlton. It might be Lorena Carlton. You're in a group of Spanish names, so I'm not sure if it's Lorena or Lorena. You'll have to correct me, okay? Eric Soto, Jean Gonzalez, Congratulations, Doreen Harris. I believe that Doreen started out as a 1K. Maybe our special guest this morning is the mentor who reached out to Doreen, so we'll ask him in just a minute. Lily Mary Hidalgo Sanchez, congratulations on being a 1K. Rocio Garcia, congratulations, Rocio. Yaritin Reynoso, congratulations. We're going to continue on, and by the way, there's the picture of that cool Sol Pro drink bottle that it's torturing me, because they're all different, but they all are drink bottles. This one's awesome, and I think you get this at 2K. So that's just a little extra gift for reaching your second milestone. Eunice Quiñones, congratulations, Eunice. Mariana Villarreal, well done, you hit the second milestone. Maria Juana Magaña Mendoza, congratulations. And let me just mention at this milestone, to me after 35 years, and we're just about at 35 years for me, I love watching people achieve at all the milestones, but I've grown to appreciate even more those first few milestones because there are so many people who could get so much joy and satisfaction leading, and for whatever reason in their life, they're not either brought in a position to achieve those first few milestones, or they decide not to because something comes up, and then they sort of miss out on this huge enrichment in their life. So to me, the early milestones, I love to talk about them, and I love to see people achieve them because I know what awaits them. I know you feel the same way as soul leaders. Adriana Guerrero, congratulations, Adriana, for reaching 2K. And now we're up to the kettle. So, if you get the kettle, you have cranked up to the third rank achievement. And so we've got Marisol Villa. Let's give Marisol a big round of applause here, and congratulations. A big soul community congrats. Fabiola Sandoval, also at 3K. Congratulations, Fabiola. Yoslai Ricaño. And Yoslai is a close family member of one of our stellar leaders in Florida, Jesus Conde and Anavet. And love seeing Yoslai get involved and see what is making his parents, what's bringing his parents so much satisfaction. Edith Ugalde de Garcia, now we're up to 5K. Congrats, Edith, for reaching this wonderful rank. And now we're going to jump this month. We're going to honor one of our recent Soul Elite achievers. So this is a rank now where a lot of things change, a lot of opportunities come into your life. And I do think it's a goal that everyone can achieve. Granted, it's just becoming involved, connecting with other leaders, a big key one. I think being able to envision what you can do, and a lot of, I think, attention and work. I mean, the work sometimes sounds so bad, but to me, work actually is satisfaction when the work you're doing is something you like. And soul is designed to be that way. We want soul to be stress-free, like positive thing, something that adds to, never weighs down upon, always provides new friends, new opportunities, and new growth. And so Soul Elite to me is that level where you're starting to bring that into the lives of other people, not just developing it in yourselves, but you're starting to bring that into the lives of other people in a way where they're really starting to see a broader picture of what they can feel and achieve and enjoy with soul. So today we are going to have as our special guest our recently ranked up Soul Elite 25K, Mr. Eric Patterson, who I've known for many years. For many years, in case you didn't know this about Eric, he was a corporate executive and at the highest levels. Aside from being that a high-level executive in several companies, he did a fair amount of consulting with some of the largest companies in our industry. And because of that experience, was exposed to so many ways in which companies like ours can be organized to help people, to develop people. And in there, probably early on, in fact, I'm going to ask him here. Let's bring Eric on. I I got to ask you, Eric, welcome and thank you for coming on this morning.
Good morning, Greg.
If you can think back for a minute, when did all of a sudden it click in your mind where the power of multi-level direct sales, this type of marketing to develop individuals and to change outlook and create leaders and leadership? Is this something that you've told me a little bit, but like, is this like really, really early on? Or can you think back to a time where in your mind, you saw the power of this type of a business? That's a question we didn't talk about, but I'm just curious what you think.
No, that's fine. Yeah. So a couple things. I early on in my career, when I started working in network marketing, what I wanted to do was understand the industry, and I became a student. I became basically enamored with the thought or the ability to learn the skills and the skill sets that were necessary to be able to be a good network marketer. My first job was as a trainer, a person who went out and did training, but I wanted to make sure that I understood what I was talking about. I understood the industry. So I became a student. And one of the things I did was I started reading the books that the networkers were reading. I actually subscribed to the tape of the month, first it was tape of the month, then it was the CD of the month, then it was the videotape of the month, and then it was whatever else, right? But there were audios and there were videos and there were books upon books upon books. So I started building a library and started really studying these things. In fact, what was fun is that my wife, Nicole, and I both were studying these things together. And early on in our career, my career, we considered leaving corporate to become field distributors. I think it was wise that we didn't at the time. I think that I had a lot to learn still, and I had a lot more skills. I went back into graduate work. I got a master's in business, and then, like you mentioned, I was able to go up through the executive ranks at different companies. All that knowledge has kind of helped me have a perspective on how to approach doing my own business. What happened is about 2.5 years ago, it was evident it was time to bring a closure to a situation in employment. And the question was, what do I do next? And default for me was I can always consult. And I have consulted with some of the large companies that you probably all have heard of. And so I thought at first started to do that. But quickly, the conversation with Nicole became, what if maybe this is the time? What if we were to go into the field and this is the time to build a team? And so it just grew from that, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's awesome. I remember you telling me, and we had a conversation because we're longtime friends. And Eric's shared this before. I mean, I remember him telling me, hey, this is where I'm at. And that thought came into my mind too. And I didn't know that so early on in your career, you had these strong thoughts with your wife about becoming a distributor. But I've learned this about you because I've seen Eric for many, many years. He's an excellent trainer, a very gifted trainer and speaker. I think that he also has a perspective pretty unmatched in friends that I have because of all the consulting through so many different companies. And it's always fascinating to me just to talk about whatever we're working on because perspective can help. And I feel it's that way, when we talk about the soul community, that's why we're so strong together. We all bring different perspectives. And those thoughts, those things that people share in the moment, they can be just the thing that I'm kind of stuck on or I was thinking about, I was pondering, and somebody shares it and I'm like, well, yeah, that's where I'm going to, kind of move forward. And so I just love, we can't talk enough about the power of community. Now, speaking about community, Eric, to me, it's a huge deal to watch you create rank because this isn't a thing where sometimes a person can make a certain arrangement and there's like instant rank with people. Then that's not the way Eric has done it. He has done it to what I would call, it's not, I call it organic. He's just used all the skills and has connected with some wonderful people. So at this time, what a great milestone. It is, to me, an awesome achievement that first time you get to Soul Elite. And I know the amount of work, I know the amount of heart you put into this. But Eric, you always mention your team. Do you want to shout out?
Yeah,
You want to take a second shout out to some of the people you've been able to connect with to build to the 25K?
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. So, and Greg, you and I talked about this a few days back, but really, none of this is something I've done alone. And it's true. I've done everything with Soul organically. I didn't um, come in with, 5, 10, 15,000 or points of volume immediately. I literally, for the first like 6 or 7 months, all my volume was 100% what I produced on my own. And I got to 5K producing just on my own,
When you
almost
say
to 7K.
producing, yeah, sorry to jump in. When you say producing, you're talking. Eric used to tell me this is what he's like. Hey, I'm dialing for dollars,
Grinding it out,
phone calling,
grinding it out.
right? Reaching out to
Yeah,
people.
grinding it out. Yeah, the work. And so what I've done is not an effort that I've done alone, or Nicole and I have done alone. I have some amazing leaders, and I want to definitely give shout outs to them, because without them, the team wouldn't be possible. And without the team, we wouldn't be able to have this team accomplishment. It really is a team accomplishment. It's not Eric and Nicole doing it by themselves. This is truly a team. And I've got Pat Alakim, who's just on the doorsteps of becoming a 10K. She's been just an amazing networker, and she's helping literally hundreds of people. And there's a lot more that she's going to get to. So Pat, congratulations for what all you've achieved. I've got 2 5Ks. I've got Jordana Espinosa, and then I've got Lisa Kanapke, both of whom do the business a little bit differently, but both are just amazing leaders, and they're able to get the help and the products to a lot of people. So they're doing fantastic. I also have Ann Cooper, who's a naturopath. I have Two Feather Smith, who she has a store and a clinic. And boy, I've got a few others I'll just mention. Craig and
She's my
Sandy
favorite
Hendrick.
name. Eric, before you
Oh,
mention
Two
her,
Feathers. Yeah,
Two
she's
Feathers is
awesome.
my favorite name
Yeah.
of everyone on your team. Just saying that, Two Feathers, you have a cool name. Okay, go.
And she's awesome.
Yeah,
She and I
she is.
we talk, and we it's just she's just an amazing lady, and it's just fun to talk with her, and we become good friends. But I'll also mention Craig and Sandy Hendricks, Connie Fehrenbach, Don and Kalman Marcus, and most recently, like you mentioned, Doreen Harris joined last month. So I've got many more. I've got many more. Too many to mention, but these are some of the ones that are 1Ks and above, and who have been able to do some great things. And the truth is, I'm very fortunate to just be associated and have a team of just amazing people. And it's not just the ones or the leaders I've mentioned who are doing all the work. I have many others who do 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 800 points a month, that I'd have a much longer like list of people to mention. But yeah, it's a fantastic thing. And you and I were talking about the community that we have at Soul is unique. And it's just, and we had this conversation, I think it was when I attended my first Ignite almost exactly 2 years ago, when I said, I found my tribe, I found my people. And it's just great to be able to add to that, and hopefully bring more of that goodness, more of that community to Soul.
I love that. I love that, Eric. And the tribe is better with you here. And I think we could say that as we meet new people and as you bring new people on your team, they make the tribe better. They make the community richer.
Absolutely.
And honestly, they just
Good
bring
people
a smile.
are attracted to good people, right?
Yeah,
And
it's so true.
there's a word I think is probably overused in today's society, and that's authenticity.
Yeah.
And it's mean different things, but the truth is that this tribe, or the Soul community, are real people who are really wanting to help others. And that's first and foremost, right? Helping others through their health, and then through the business opportunity, both of which are in many respects equal, right? We find many more people usually through health, but it's through building our businesses and bringing more people on that we're able to extend our influence, our circle of influence,
Yeah.
from those that we know to those that we get to know, to the people they know, and more. It just goes on and on and on. That's the beauty of what we do, is that the ripples really. I mean, I bring in one or two people who bring in two or three people who bring in more people. And then before you know it, I'm at 25K, right?
Yeah, and I like what you said about, I mean, the business and the products, say, or the health, they are equal
Yeah.
because they're the same thing, really. We're in the business of people. But
Yeah.
we have a superpower in Soul. We're going to talk a little bit about that with nutrition and how we
Yeah.
handle nutrition. We believe that we've advanced the way that that can be used naturally, not because we invented it. It's been there in nature, because of the way we use it and the way we harness and complete, I think, the resources there in nature. But the business side is that people develop. People are the only way other people find out about this, and people grow and lift each other. Without people, the products sit in the warehouse. So I love that you love the business as much as you love the products, and you've got,
Yeah.
we talk about it being organic with you, Eric. It's just as organic on the health side. You've got a number of testimonials, you yourself, that you've shared in the past. And that's why I had such a good feeling early on. I mean, I already knew you, so I had no doubts. But the way you've gone about it is very complete. And so I love, I do love to celebrate your achievement this morning. Now I had another issue. Is there anything else you want to mention about the community, the team, and what, kind of ranking forward means to people before we go on to our other topic?
Well, sure. And I think basically going back to ranking forward is no more or less than your ability to help others, to help others, to help others, to help others. And the beautiful thing is that it just perpetuates itself. And I see my responsibility to help those who are helping as many generations down as I can reach, to help them get to others. And the truth is that we have a beautiful community. We've got amazing people who are just genuinely good people, want to help, and boy, I just can't say enough about that. And I'm just fortunate to have found this community. You asked me a question a little bit earlier about my process, maybe about growing this thing organically, and I think you had asked me previously about. I actively have between about 150 to 200 people that I'm actively contacting, and what that means is that I might give them a call and speak to them a couple times, and they say, you know what, my kids are out of school, and I'll be able to talk to you in September. And I'll say, no problem. Let's talk in September. It's always about guiding them and asking them where they are, because one of the things that's absolutely true is you can't force anyone to do anything they don't want to do. They've got to want to do it. And I'm not here to pressure anyone to do something they don't want to do. I'm just here to persuade them and show them the benefits of the amazing products that Soul has. And if they choose or want and are in the mind frame of building a business, to show them the benefits that come from that side of what Soul has to offer on the business side. And so
Eric,
that's a lot of people, but it's constant. I mean, my goal is 20 to 25 contacts a day, if not more.
Eric, I apologize for interrupting, because I do want to come to your list now. Before we come, because one of, I think, Eric's superpowers is the way you manage. You do it through a big, huge spreadsheet. Your list, what I would call your living list, because it's not just a list that was made once and I get through it and I'm done. It's a list.
I'm changing it daily. I'm
daily.
updating it multiple times a day.
Now, I want to come back to this. I want to hold that thought for just a quick second, because there was one other question I forgot to ask you about our previous conversation. Then let's come back to your list. In the previous conversation, you mentioned this, Eric. You said, up to a certain point, all of my volume was what I generated every month. All the phone calls, the contacts with people, sharing the health, people trying the products. And then you started to see a change.
Yeah.
What's that?
It was about my first 6 to 7 months.
6 to 7 months. And then you started to see a change where you saw them start to share. Can you tell us a little bit about that period of change when you started to see that difference?
Yeah, well, I've been really fortunate in that I've been able to connect and bring to my team people who already knew quite a bit about natural health, and some of whom had also had some experience in networking. And so in some respects, I was able to just find the right people. And among those folks I'm talking about were uh, Lisa Kanapke, Jordana Espinosa, Don and Calman Marcus. They were among the first. Ann Cooper, also among the first to start to share with others, right? And little by little, they've grown their ability to influence and bring others into this whole family. And so what was amazing is that it seemed like after working and working and working to find these people, it just all kind of seemed to have converged at about, in my case, it doesn't have to be this way for everybody, but in my case, at least, at about the 7-8 month mark is when everything just started to just come together. All those people I'd been contacting, all of those who had been trying the product, some of them started to share with others, started to see benefits, started to see some of the compensation components like the Soul Prime that's available in your first 4 months, the Double Prime, and all those things. All those things kind of came together. And it wasn't just that I flipped a switch, although metaphorically it felt like I had flipped a switch. It wasn't. It was just all the work and the maybe hundreds of calls prior, trying to find these folks and then helping them understand and see what was available to them here.
Okay, so what did you feel emotionally when you started to go through this period?
It's
Well,
actually,
now, tell me your emotions.
yeah. Well, I think you and I have spoken several times about this. There were times where I said to Greg, it feels like I'm running in knee-high mud because I was putting 100% of my effort, but felt like my progress was really slow. But it wasn't until others started to share and see the benefits of the products and see the benefits of the business opportunity that I was able to take my production and have that added upon so that I could then go get to the next ranks. But it was a matter of being able to just tap into those talents and skills that some of these of my team members either already had or were wanting to develop further.
Yeah, so fast forward to now, and you recently passed the Soul Elite milestone. Now,
Yeah.
I know you still haven't changed in terms of how you, and we're going to come back to your list here. We'll end with the list, but because I think it's such a powerful, powerful lesson that you can share with all of us. But now when you're working it, you've got this dual, you've got all the work that you're still doing personally, reaching out to brand new people, and you have not fallen into what some people describe as a trap when you get a lot of good people. Well, now I'll just spend my whole time with them and they will produce for me. But you still do things yourself. But how does it feel, the balance of that right now? Like, is there anything you would share about that in the recent 3 or 4 or 5 months?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. And so what's interesting is it took me, I was in the 23,000 plus volume for about 3 or 4 months before reaching 25. So I knew that 25K was inevitable. It's just a matter of when was it going to happen. And I wasn't going to artificially either push anyone or buy extra volume in order to achieve that rank. I wanted to be the real thing, and without pressuring my team to do things that they might not have been ready to do, or that frankly would have possibly resented my pushing them. I'm not about pushing people. I'm about helping people and running alongside them. And so let me just say this is that as we worked together as a team to get to as many people as possible and to organize in such a way that it made sense for my leaders to be able to maximize their earnings, because that's really important to me, is that each of my leaders are maximizing their earnings. The word snowball is probably the closest thing that I can use to describe is that the influence, again, that circle of influence goes from very small, the people you're talking to the people they're talking to the people they're talking to, then to the next generation. And so to see that it is actually, it was exhilarating. It was fun to watch. It was, in some ways undescribable, because it's like, wow, this thing is really, it's working the way it's supposed to work after so much time and effort putting into it. And I think probably one of the keys here is for everyone to remember is that most things don't happen overnight. You don't, run a marathon just one day by waking up and saying, I'm going to sign up for a marathon and I'm going to run it tomorrow. It takes a lot of preparation, and, it might take running some 5Ks. It might take, doing some 10Ks. The truth is, it takes preparation, it takes time, and you don't, people tend to just see the achievement and say congratulations. They don't see all of the hard work and time and effort that's gone into the preparation, building the foundation. They look at the beautiful metaphorical home or whatever it is that you've built, but they don't think about that it took a lot of digging to build a foundation. It took a lot of hammering to build the walls. It took a lot of work to put all the things in there so that when you walk into the house, it's a fully functional house. I'm not saying I'm 100% there. I'm just saying, because I have a goal to go much, much further than we are today and to influence many more people for good. But to get to where I'm at, it took a lot of time and preparation, and hopefully others are faster than me, but it's worth the slugfest, if you will, or the time and effort.
It's worth sometimes feeling like
fighting through the mud.
Yeah, it's worth that. You can wash the mud off.
It is.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Hey, so Eric, your list, coming back to your list, if you can think, now I know you keep this list electronically, you categorize people in different places in your list. You never drop someone off. It amazes me. It astounds me that no matter what someone says to you, no matter what, you do not bail on them. And so tell me a little bit about how you organize your list, and also tell us, how big was your list when you first started? Like, give us a number of names, and how big is your list today, 2 years later?
Well, yeah. So when I started, I did what everyone else is supposed to do, right? You create a list of 100 or more people. And so I started with a list maybe of 100 to 200 people that I would contact. And that, truthfully, when you're doing this, in my case, full time, it doesn't take long to get to those 200 people. So you've got to find ways to add to your list. So number one, if you and I were to look at my phone, I probably have currently 22, 23, 2,400 names in my contact list. So if you can't think of names, just go through your phone. You'll have a boatload of people on your phone and it's basically just a great starting point. I also started to Google and started to use different digital methods to be able to find people who might have already an interest or might already be familiar with either natural health or herbs and so forth. And so I started looking for people who might have common interests that I might introduce the products to them. And so that list currently, like I mentioned, is probably, I have about 300 people that I'm actively contacting and talking to. And I have another probably 300 that I haven't even talked to yet. And I've got another about 700 is what I looked at right before we got on, of people I've talked to who said to me, I'm really not interested. And I always say, well, do you mind if I check back with you 6 or 12 months to see if something has changed? And very rarely does anyone say, no, don't talk to me again. Most people are open to talking to you again. They recognize and realize that life changes, life circumstances change. And so a no today might be basically no, not yet. And even if they feel like it's a solid no, I've gone back to people 6 months, 12 months later who said, yeah, I want to look at it now. And for whatever reason, something changed in their lives that made them open to it. But the fact that I keep that door open and say, well, if nothing else, I've made a new friend, right? So I know someone new, I've made new friends. Hey, do you mind if I call you back in 6 or 12 months and see where we are? And so, yeah, I've got a very active list and I'm constantly looking to add to it.
And Eric, you told me the other day that some of the early names on your list, you were just kind of starting, and you've, over the last 18 months, really kind of refined. Yeah. You talk about it differently. You approach people differently. And so you're like, in hindsight, you said to me, you're like, I don't think I was very good per se at those first lists. I need to go reconnect with them the way I talk now. Yeah. Or tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah. Well, anytime, I'd never really done what I'm doing today in the way I'm doing it, right? And so as with any new skill, it takes time and effort. And I think you and I, when we were talking about it, I think in the 2 years, I think I said ballparking, I've done 10,000 calls, roughly. That's a lot of calls. And so during that process, I've learned how to talk to people. I can have a very productive 3-minute conversation now where before it would take me 20 to 30 minutes, right? And it's because I've just become aware of different things. I've become aware of listening better to the person I'm talking to. And I've learned to keep it brief and succinct so that people, if they're interested, I don't talk them out of it, but I haven't talked too much. And so there's this balance of learning the skill of talking to people and learning how to present the information succinctly in a way that's meaningful to them, that they'll connect with. That takes time and takes effort, and it's like anything else. None of the NBA players that play right now in the NBA finals were born playing basketball. Now, for some of them, it came easier than others, but they all had to go through and learn the fundamentals and learn how to shoot. I'm sure that some of them, when they were children, never even hit the backboard or hit the hoop. And so my point is, it takes time to grow into that. And I've grown into some of that, and I have yet a lot more to learn, but I'm much better today than I was 2 years ago when I was calling.
Yeah, I love that. You just made me think. I've never thought about that before. You can have people that you've had a good conversation with, but you're not the same. You're not the same leader today. And being able to keep those bridges open, keeping those bridges established on your list, it leaves you, possibilities forever. And some of those past bridges are just waiting. Like you said, something's changed in life.
Yeah.
A lot of them are in a situation where they're going to hear it differently, or you're going to say it differently. So I think that's a great tip for everybody who's maybe worked at it in the past and thought, well, I've already covered that terrain. I'm not going to go back there.
And part of it is, if people sincerely are interested, they give them the space to do it on their timing. Now, you can guide them. I'm not saying you can't guide them, but there are sometimes circumstances. I'll give you just one out of many that I had someone in March of this year enroll as a member that I started contacting a year prior in January. And I have at least called them twice monthly.
Which is amazing to me. And you haven't been a pest. Like you didn't drive them away, yet you called them twice a month.
Yeah, so I'm persistent, but I'm not overbearing. As long as they're telling me they're interested and they want to continue the conversation, we continue the conversation, right?
Yeah.
And so they didn't become a member until March of this year. Well, I didn't know, come to find out kind of in a roundabout way, there were things or circumstances in that person's life that were causing them to not really be able to move on things. I didn't know that, but I was never pushing to them and saying like, why aren't you moving? Why aren't you, it's so easy to kind of say, what's going on here? How much time have I wasted? Actually, it's time invested, right? It's not wasted, because that person, when they're ready fully, when they come on, they will be one of my significant leaders, no doubt.
I think that's great. I do remember you mentioning that. What a great lesson, Eric. Okay, I would love to sit and talk. We're about out of time here. We're going to have you on another time. And I know Eric will do some teaching along with some other amazing leaders at Ignite in the fall. So I want to put a plug here. Let's take a quick look at the slide here so we can see it. If you haven't got this on your radar, Soul Ignite is about rising to new heights in your life. How? Through the Soul community. It's going to be the 9th through the 11th of October. We're going to have some great training. There will be a new product that we launched there. And we're going to hear from people like Eric, who are doing things right now to really change lives and bring opportunities to other people. Be a great blend of product training and information, and also business training. Remember, we're in the business of people, in changing people's lives. So the training, when we say business training, it's about those skills and about really showing practical successes of people like Eric. So, Eric, before I let you go, let me ask you because I know you've got some plans to have kind of a party with your team coming out to Ignite. You've got a number of them planning some stuff. How are you looking at, what's your mindset for Ignite coming up on Ignite? I'll just leave you with that question.
Yeah, so I think events are just critical for success, for our own personal success, as well as the success of our team. And I saw this as on the corporate side over and over again. And I think there'll be people today in Soul who would say, It wasn't until I attended such and such event on such and such day, such year, that my mind was opened or understood really the possibilities of what was available through this opportunity. And so to me, getting as many people as possible out to an event like Ignite is not only important for me, but it's going to be important for them and possibly anyone else that they bring, because it is a known fact that leaders are made at events. Now, you may already be a leader, but you'll be made a better leader. And there are people who come who aren't leaders, who may just consume the product but have an interest in soul, who show up and go like, oh my goodness, there's something really here. I want to be part of this tribe. I want to be part of this community. And that leader is born there. So to me, events are critical and so important to the success of the entire team and the company in general.
I love that. Yeah, we're looking forward to that. And there's nothing more fun than being there with a bunch of your team. You contact them all the time. I know you send emails. I don't know if do you send them weekly to your team? You're always in contact.
No. Yeah. No. Yeah, there's.
Is it monthly that you send an email?
I try to do monthly, but I haven't been as good as sending that out monthly. In fact, I have an email I've had 99% complete for the last 2 weeks, and I still haven't sent it out. So that'll be going out to my team.
So
soon.
you're amazing, but you're not perfect. That's I don't think anybody is.
Absolutely not perfect. And that's probably the beauty of this, right? If imperfect people like me, people who, we all juggle many things. And so, we're still able to accomplish things without having to be 100% perfect on everything. And give yourself some grace.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so we're looking forward to Ignite and lots of great things there. Eric, and thank you for your time, and we'll have you on another time whenever we can make it work in your schedule as well. I do meet with Eric quite frequently, and I learned he'll always tell me, Greg, I hope I'm not pushing this or pressuring that, and I learn something every time. My eyes are open every time, so I really appreciate the interactions as I do with each of you. So our goal here is to constantly improve the support we give at the corporate offices and strengthen the soul community. That's how we feel like we can make a difference in the world. Eric, any final comments for someone who's brand new and they're just starting in their soul journey and somebody gave them this recording and they listened to it? Any final comments that you want to give to them?
Yeah. What I would say is be patient with yourself and be patient with the process. Again, let's go back to the NBA analogy. It could be for a doctor, it could be for a lawyer, it could be for anything, right? Even a firefighter, it doesn't matter what, a mechanic, it doesn't matter what. You aren't born with those skill sets. You have to develop them. And the only way to develop them is by doing. And the more you do, then the better you get faster. And so be patient with yourself, be patient with the process. Here's one thing. I have the benefit of knowing and been in this industry now for more than 30 years. And so having been in this realm, in this industry, in this channel, helps me know that if I do what I know I'm supposed to do, that the results will come, right? I know what's possible. I've sat belly to belly to people who make millions of dollars a month in this industry. And so I know it's possible. It's just a matter of me getting to the point of putting it there. So would I start my Mechanics 101 class in high school and think that I'm going to be certified mechanic in 3 months? No, I mean, that's kind of not really a wise way to think of it. Or even in 6 months or even a year, I might get started, but listen, you're down that path and eventually, you become a mechanic or you become a firefighter or you become, you go to college and then you go to, law school and then you become a lawyer. But even when you're a lawyer, you're just starting as a brand new lawyer. You're not an expert lawyer. So it's a continual process of learning and improving and progressing. And don't sell yourself short. Don't say, I've done this for 3 months, I'm done. Or I've done this even for 6 months or a year and I'm done. No, anything that's worth building takes time. And so give yourself the time and give yourself the patience to do that.
I love that, Eric. That's great. Great counsel. All right, my friend, thank you for being on today. And I'm going to just end now before we sign off. We did our giveaway. I broke with regulations because I liked Lisa Manchester's comment that a double Cinematics is better than a single. I think Jordan does the double, by the way, so you're not alone. So Lisa won this. But I want to just leave you with a plug for tomorrow night, Tuesday night. We are going to have a special 13th anniversary Why Soul Works. I'm fortunate enough to be able to host it, and I'm going to talk about the power and the secret of the way we use adaptogens in soul. How we feel we've innovated the way people should and could look at wellness and the results that they can get. We will go through a very specific focus and a training with adaptogens and some examples on how we use that. So it should be a great opportunity if it's maybe someone you're talking with like Eric and his living list, and you want to give them a little snapshot into, hey, here's a little insight into why I'm so into soul and part of the soul community. That's going to be tomorrow night, 6 p.m. Mountain Time, Utah time. And I want to, after we get done, I will plug tomorrow night this final slide that I want to show you this morning, which is the sample pack. The reason for that is in the sample pack, you have this huge number of adaptogens used in just the way we prepare them in soul in 7 different drinks at a price point, $14.95, that anyone, virtually anyone, can manage, and a chance for them to open the gate and get exposed to adaptogens, try some of those products, and connect to you. And they get, as you know, with that sample pack, a $15 coupon, so that it's a zero risk for them and a full 100% reward, because we know these things will make a difference in their life. So the sample pack is a great way to share soul this anniversary month. We're going to talk about it a little bit. We'll plug it tomorrow night, but I did not want to let this morning go by without mentioning the sample pack as well. If you've got an easy way that you'd like to reach out to somebody, use the sample pack. And even someone who maybe in the past you talked with before this sample pack was available, to Eric's point about going back when maybe he wasn't quite so polished and refined with his skills, might be a good way to reach back to some of the early people that you talked with the sample pack. All right, everyone, thank you so much for being here. I'm seeing tons of comments on the chat board, and sorry I haven't been able to read those today. This is always great. Eric, you should go back after and read them, because people say lots of great things. And I do think there are lots of, I see a couple comments about so many gems were dropped there. That's from Jaliva. I agree, Jaliva. That's every conversation I have with Eric. He's fantastic. Thanks again to Eric for joining us, and to each of you. And we will see you next Monday on Talking Success, and we'll see you tomorrow night at Why Soul Works.